The year was 1837. The United States of America had been in existence for barely 60 years and was composed of only 26 states. The Civil War was still 24 years into the future, and Andrew Jackson's presidency was coming to an end. It was a year that saw Chicago incorporated as a city, the first patent for an electric printing press, and the Republic of Texas recognized by the United States. But on the evening of January 29, 1837, another significant event took place. 12 God-inspired men and women met on that cold Sunday night and organized the First Baptist Church of Jackson, Tennessee. Dr. John Findlay would become the church's first pastor. The initial meeting house for the church was at the corner of Market and College Streets. Market Street would later be renamed Highland Avenue. And on Sunday, July 2nd of that year, Mrs. Sarah Taylor became the first person baptized into the fellowship of First Baptist Church. In the 175 years that have followed its founding, the First Baptist Church of Jackson, Tennessee has been a steady beacon of light for our city and our region, proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ to thousands, leading the way for Baptists in West Tennessee, and consistently serving this community. With God's faithful help, First Baptist Church has a bright and hopeful future.
When you think about 175 years, our church predates the Civil War, it predates the founding of the Southern Baptist Convention, the founding of the Tennessee Baptist Convention. So we have a rich history, and it's one that is worth celebrating. And it's incredible to see God's faithfulness throughout the years. If you study and read our history, you see example after example of the way God has been faithful to His people. We're thankful to God for 175 years of His faithfulness.
175 years, that is an amazing thing that for 175 years this church has been a part of Jackson, Tennessee.
I look back at what people must have done when they first started and established First Baptist Church, and all they went through, and then through the years, all the families that have worshiped in this congregation.
And I think it really speaks to the commitment that the congregation has had over these 175 years to this community and also to spreading the gospel.
175 years, that's a significant celebration for any congregation. It's hard to imagine just the number of lives that have been influenced and impacted.
Being 175 years old has its share of challenges, but it has its share of blessings as well, and I think those blessings far outweigh the challenges.
This church has had more good days, I would say, than bad ones over the years. We had a wonderful church downtown, and we all loved it, just like we came to love this one after we got out here. The church, after all, is not a building, it's people.
When we got married in '53, we would go to Hayes Avenue one week, we'd go to First Baptist one week, and we really were not a part of anything. So I joined her church, and we became members of First Baptist Church.
I'm glad it didn't take too long to convince him.
I remember moving here and being in the procession when all the cars drove from the old church to this church. It's just a special place. I grew up, a lot of friends here growing up. A lot of family has been members of this church over the years.
I think what initially connected us to the church was just how welcoming people were. And it was also neat to see several different generations here.
We were attracted by the intergenerational nature of First Baptist Church. There are little babies, and there are people with gray hair, and there are some of us in between.
In the beginning, I was invited to attend with family friends. We were so overwhelmed by the friendliness of the people at First Baptist.
It's easy to want to serve here because of how warm and engaging we as a congregation are to one another.
Serving this congregation, I've said it often, it's an easy congregation to pastor. They are so loving, they're so affirming, they're so encouraging. They love one another and care for one another so well.
When our oldest son had a terrible car accident when he was a senior in high school, And the way this church ministered to us just showed what God's love can do in a church like First Baptist Jackson.
The church has become a large family for me over the years. It helped raise my children with me. It helped to raise me and my wife. So there are deep roots here.
We really are living life together. So when there's hurts, we mourn together. When there's victories, we rejoice together.
We've always kind of considered this really, even since moving away, kind of our home church, just because of the time of life that we served here, I think, and for the continued relationships.
We don't have any family here in town. All of our family is out of town, and this is our family.
One of the really encouraging things that has happened throughout this anniversary celebration is the time that we spent together with our brothers and sisters from the other First Baptist Church, the one on Martin Luther King Drive.
How y'all doing? Y'all welcome. Come on in. Come on in.
Honestly, I think it's how church should be. It's great to begin to experience, maybe in small ways, what we're going to experience in heaven.
It just really felt natural and like we were all at home.
I felt a definite healing and an important part of what Christians are supposed to be and what the church is supposed to be.
They were so accepting of us, and we just enjoyed being there and worshiping with them.
And they were delighted
yeah.
that we came.
We have very different ways of worshiping, and to see us coming together and blending those two together was awkward and beautiful at the same time.
It was very interesting to watch all of us kind of loosen up a little bit and enjoy a slightly different worship style than we were used to. The vitality of the congregation, the obvious love for the Word, and was really encouraging.
Being pastor of a church that has a history of 175 years, you recognize that you're standing on the shoulders of giants. You are laboring and getting to reap the fruit of so many people who went before you.
We knew as soon as they called Justin to be pastor that there would be a very committed focus on the preaching of God's Word.
I like the fact that he teaches from the Bible, that he teaches directly from the Bible. I love Justin for what he does at our church.
Those of us who like to get involved can always find a job. There are so many different ways that we can serve the Lord here.
We believe that just as God has been faithful to us in the past 175 years, so we have hope that He will continue to show His faithfulness to us, that His grace will continue to be shown to First Baptist Church. And so we are excited about the future.
It's a privilege to be a part of something very old and to see God shaping that old organization for the future and to have hope for the future.
There's no reason, it seems to me, why First Baptist Church can't have a bright future and can't really pioneer some new areas of ministry.
To me, it's obvious that the Lord has a purpose for this church here in this community for the last 175 years and hopefully for 175 more at least.
The future for First Baptist Church in Jackson is certainly one that we're looking forward to being a part of. It's going to have a very fruitful future as far as this city.
175 years. What an amazing thing to see God's providential hand sustain this congregation for almost 2 centuries. The future looks so hopeful, so bright. We thank God that in His providence He has brought Justin Wainscott to lead, to shepherd, to pastor this congregation, to be the proclaimer of God's Word, and we are thankful for a future that can be driven by a Word-centered ministry that He brings to this place.
To all of you who are members of First Baptist Church and to all who have been members of First Baptist Church in the past, let me say a word of thanks. Thank you for all that you have done, and thank you for all that you do to make this such a wonderful church. I know you join me in saying, to God be the glory for the great things that He has done these past 175 years, and to God be the glory for the great things He will do in the years to come. Thank you, and God bless you.